Hey guys, Wet Movie 1 here, coming by to say, Jammin' Music Man, you are the goddamn king of YouTube, man. Keep on rocking. Wet Movie is part of your posse, man, or you're part of the crew. Posse, I'm part of your crew. Whatever it may be. But if you guys are watching this right now, hit that subscribe button. You won't be sorry. And James, I love you, man.
What's up, guys? It's me, Jammin' Music Man, and with it being October, that can only mean one thing. Halloween season is upon us, and in this video, I'm going to be showing you guys some of my favorite horror movies that I like to watch on Halloween. So sit back, relax, because you guys are in for a scare. Alright guys, these first two horror movies I'm going to show you are some of the best horror movies of all time. Definite classics, and if you haven't seen these movies, I highly recommend checking them out. But this first one is Sam Raimi's The Evil Dead. If you haven't seen it, I highly recommend checking it out. It's a fun watch, very gory, awesome special effects. You know, this is the movie that made Bruce Campbell a legend, but basically the plot of the film is about these group of young adults. They're staying in this cabin in the woods, and they find this book in this basement. And of course, once they find this book, you know, people start getting possessed by these demons. And Bruce Campbell's character, Ash, he spends the rest of this film trying to fight off his friends, basically, who were possessed. And it's very gory, very bloody. I would probably have to say one of the most goriest films of all time. But it's a fun watch. This movie has got a tint of horror and comedy to it. But like I said, it's a definite classic, and I highly recommend checking it out. Alright, you guys, this next movie right here, ain't nothing funny about it. And this, the Texas Chainsaw Massacre. Oh man, I remember renting this movie at the video store back in the 90s during Halloween season and watching it and just being freaked out by it. But man, if you haven't seen it, go check it out. The original's the best. I did like the remake, the one that came out in 2003, but you gotta go with the original. Of course, the Leatherface character was actually based off of a real serial killer, Ed Gein. Ed Gein, he would kill people and like take their skin off and make masks. He was just a real screwed up dude. But that's where the whole Leatherface character comes from. Basically, the plot of the film is about these group of young adults. Two of them are brother and sister, and the brother's in a wheelchair, and they're wanting to go spend some time at like their old aunt and uncle's house somewhere in Texas. And it's like during the middle of the summer, it's like really hot. And you know, throughout the film, they're running into like members of Leatherface's family. Like the sheriff of the town is Leatherface's dad, and they pick up this hitchhiker, and of course it was Leatherface's brother. And of course they start getting hacked off one by one. But my favorite scene in the movie is at the end, when Leatherface, or when that truck driver stops in the middle of the road and he sees Leatherface and he starts hauling ass. I always love that scene. And that scene where Leatherface gets his leg cut by the chainsaw. I always love that. But man, this movie is a classic, and if you haven't seen it, like I said, go check out the Texas. Alright, you guys, this next two DVDs I'm going to show you, I'm pretty sure some of you out there have seen these films. This first DVD set right here, it's the Nightmare on Elm Street collection. You get all 8 movies in the Nightmare on Elm Street franchise with Robert Englund as Freddy Krueger. I never saw the 2010 remake, never cared to see that one. But of course, if you pick up this set, you get, of course, the original Nightmare on Elm Street, which is my favorite. Part 2, 3, 4, and 5. Freddy's Dead, The Final Nightmare, Wes Craven's New Nightmare, Freddy vs. Jason. And if you don't know who Freddy Krueger is, basically Freddy Krueger, he kills teenagers in their dreams. Of course, the original is a classic, And like I said, I highly recommend checking it out if you've never seen it. Now, I remember one Halloween I binge watched like all these movies. Fun times. And this next one, I'm pretty sure some of you out there have seen all these movies. And this DVD set I got right here is kind of a weird little set I found at Fred's. You know, Fred's, it's kind of similar to like Dollar General. But I found this back in the day, and it came with a Jason hockey mask. And the DVD set I'm talking about, it's the Friday the 13th, the Ultimate Collection. You get all the Friday the 13th films. I'm just going to open it up and show you guys. Like I said, this was a weird little set, and the box is kind of crappy. But it came with a Jason hockey mask, which is pretty cool. And let's see. They put all the DVDs in like this little booklet set, just letting you guys get a good look of what it looks like on the inside. But you get all the Friday the 13th films, and you know, about 10 years ago I was lucky enough to meet C.J. Graham, who played Jason Voorhees in Friday the 13th Part 6 at Movie Gallery. That's right, he was doing an autograph signing at a movie gallery, folks. That's right, 10 years ago video stores were still around, but I highly recommend checking out the Friday the 13th
Alright, you guys,
films.
this
Next 3 films I'm about to show you are some of my all-time favorite zombie films. This first one right here, it's a classic. It's The Return of the Living Dead. If you haven't seen it, you gotta go check it out. One of the greatest zombie films of all time. Love watching it on Halloween. Basically, this film right here, first off, this movie right here, it's very 80s. It came out in 1985, but basically the plot of the film is about these 2 guys who work in this morgue, and they find this government container, and it releases this gas, and it wakes, you know, the dead up. And of course, when the dead wake up, they're hungry, they want brains. And there's also this group of like very 80s punk rockers, and basically the film revolves around like the 80s punk rocker group and the 2 guys in the morgue trying to figure out how are they going to survive. But you know, one of the all-time greatest zombie films if you haven't seen it. And this next one right here, I love watching this on Halloween, and I gotta say, this is one of my all-time favorite horror movies, one of my favorite zombie movies, and that's Lucio Fulci's Zombie. If you haven't seen it, this movie right here, it's very gory, and you know, this is a classic film right here. And basically the plot of this film, basically is this news reporter and this lady who her father has been missing, and they end up going somewhere like the Bahamas, and they find like this island called Matul, and they end up or they're trying to find the woman's father. And the news reporter and the father, they find this man and this woman, and they end up trying to help them find this island, trying to find their father. And that's when they find this island called Matul. And of course they meet this crazy doctor, and he's doing a lot of like, you know, weird crazy things with dead bodies on the island. And of course, you know, do I need to explain the rest? You know, this island's full of zombies. But this movie right here is a definite classic and one of my all-time favorite. And Lucio Fulci, he made some classic Italian zombie horror films, and you gotta go check this next film right here. It's a most definite watch for me on Halloween, and that's George A. Romero's Night of the Living Dead. If you haven't seen it, I highly recommend checking it out. It's one of the greatest horror movies, one of the greatest zombie movies of all time. If you haven't seen it, go check it out. I picked up this Blu-ray at my local Walmart for like $7-something bucks, so go check out your local Walmart bin. But basically the plot of the film, it involves like this group of people locked in this house, and they keep themselves locked in the house because, you know, of course there's zombies outside. And just a great film. Some of my favorite scenes in this film is at the beginning of the film when Barbara and her brother are in the cemetery trying to find their I believe their grandmother or their mother's grave, I can't remember. And that classic line, "They're coming for you, Barbara, look, there's one of them now. I always love that scene. And of course, this film right here, it came out in 1968, so we're talking about the civil rights movement was going on during this time, and the leading hero of the film was a black actor. I can't think of his name right now, but at the time there never been like a horror movie with a black leading hero actor. But the film right here, this is a classic, man. You got to go check out George A. Romero's Night of the Living Dead, and this is the 50th anniversary edition. But highly recommend checking out all these zombie classics. Alright, you guys, this next film right here, this is the film you have to watch on Halloween. I don't care who you are, you have to watch this film I'm about to show you. And the film I'm talking about is John Carpenter's Halloween. Oh man, this movie is probably the greatest horror movie of all time. This is a classic. I remember watching this as a kid, and this was the movie that got me loving horror films. And if you haven't seen this, you got to check it out. I mean, this movie came out in 1978, and you know, it's got Jamie Lee Curtis, Donald Pleasence as Dr. Loomis, and basically the plot of the film is Michael Myers comes home, I believe, like what, 15 years later, after he murdered his sister, and of course he starts killing teenagers. That's what you got to do when you're a serial killer. You got to kill teenagers, okay? And of course, you know, he ends up finding the house that Jamie Lee Curtis is babysitting at, and of course, you know, he tries to kill her, but of course Dr. Loomis comes to the rescue and saves Jamie Lee Curtis. I mean, you guys have seen this. This is like how Home Alone is to Christmas films, Halloween is to horror movies during Halloween season. This is a classic, and I got the 35th edition. Some special features you get with this disc. You get The Night She Came Home, which is a short little documentary of Jamie Lee Curtis going to her first ever HorrorCon. Of course, you get TV version footage of the trailer, TV and radio spots, and of course, if you guys are wanting to know, I do plan on checking out the new Halloween film that's coming out. I definitely want to check it out. 40 years of Halloween, but this is the movie I always watch on Halloween. But guys, I hope you enjoyed this quick little video. Be sure to give this video a like, comment, subscribe, and of course, go check out some of my past videos. Go leave me a comment. And I hope you guys enjoyed this video. And of course, share what horror movies you like to watch on Halloween. But guys, I'm Jammin' Music Man. Thanks for watching, and I will see you guys next time.